I am extremely bullish on Bitcoin. And if you were to ask me what price do I think it's going to get to over the next few years, I definitely tell you $1 million is not too crazy, even multiple millions over a little while. But what about 50 million? Take a look at this. For context, it is Michael Saylor right now at the Bitcoin conference given his 21-year price forecast, and it's quite interesting.
But what's happening? Here's my macro Bitcoin forecast. It's 21 years. Goes out to the year 2045. What do I think will happen? Well, I've got a bear case and a bull case, but what I think will happen is that 55% ARR goes to 50%, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. It's between 50 and 20. It'll gradually decelerate till it's growing about twice as fast as the S&P index. And at that rate, Bitcoin's $13 million a coin in the year 2045. 13 million. It could be a 3 million bear case. It could be a 49 million bull case. But what is Bitcoin? 7% of the world's assets then. What about the rest of the assets? Well, I actually think that AIs and technology are going to revolutionize tech. We had no companies worth $1 trillion. Then we had a bunch of $1 trillion companies. You're going to see more because you're going to see companies with 100,000 AIs and no employees, and they're going to do the work of companies that used to have 100,000 employees. You're going to see mega corps develop, shipping robots and self-driving cars, and a company that gives a personal physician to 1 billion people without any doctors on the payroll. So clearly, equity is going to grow fast. Gold's going to get demonetized. Land will be less monetized. But look, here's the future in 2045. Doesn't look that revolutionary. It looks like today. It's just that.
And man, did this guy make me think. It made me realize that indeed we on this channel here, and I guess just you and I, mostly think about where is crypto going to get to over the next few months and how can we see a 5x, 10x as quickly as possible. And most people, just like Warren Buffett always says, don't want to get rich slow. And I get that also because, well, your best years are right now. I mean, it's never going to get better in terms of your age unless you're like maybe, I don't know, 13. And so the idea that you're going to have all this wealth over 20 years, it's not as interesting. Everybody wants it quick. But I've explained on the channel multiple different ways to, if you believe the theory of over 20 years or whatever, we are going to be at all these different prices. If you believe in that, right? And you believe that the deviance internally, so basically between now and that 21-year period, is at maximum minus 80% at a time. And in these periods, it's basically going to be 3 years of up, 1 year of down. That's the way it's always been for Bitcoin since its inception. To showcase to that a little bit better, basically 50 weeks of down here, this bear, then roughly 150 weeks of up, 50-ish weeks of down, 150 weeks of up, 50 weeks down, and right now we're about 90 weeks into up. If you believe all of that, then the video I made recently talking about my top crypto, ultimate crypto trading strategy, it's still quite solid and will work for most people to get crazy amounts of profit over the next few months. Now, before we move on, we're going to talk about a project that's backed by a ton of big hitters called Octo, backed by Polychain, Coinbase, some of the biggest guys in the industry, powered by CoinDCX in a multi-billion-dollar round, so this is huge. And they're basically all about the orchestration layer. Now, there's 3 main parts: Octo app, decentralized wallet networks, and decentralized transaction networks, and it can be seen right here. But I'm going to say their main thing is actually the Octo app. It's very easy to download it via the Apple Store or the Google Play Store or whatever. And as you can see in there, you've got a ton of different things like, for example, market. If you want to go ahead and trade or just simply buy yourself some degenerate coins, sorry, the name, but there's a ton of different ones you can go for. I believe they're also open to cross-chain swaps. So if you have money on one chain, you can basically change it up for tokens on another. There's also a points tab if you quickly load in. As you can see right here, the more points you get right now, actually the more Octo tokens you are eventually going to get once that comes out, as Octo itself is not trading just quite yet. So for anybody that's interested in all these things, I recommend you to rack up as many points as you can right now, as they've also got some special T until July 31st, as you can see over on the top right there. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. You get some for swapping, from depositing, and as you can see, I've already got myself a couple of points, but it's definitely worth getting more. And then as you can also see, there's also a future section. It's you can long or short, cross or isolated. This is obviously to do with the leverage. You just put in exactly how much you want to open a position for. This is where the trade button would be right here, or we have to select a different pair. And that's literally it. You can see your positions in the tab next to it. And then here's the wallet section. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. Just looks like any wallet app. Just very simple, very clean. Anyway, check it out. The link is down below. And grab some coins before it's too late. And even right now as it stands, right? All I'm doing on my major trades, I'm going to quickly take a little look here. All I'm doing on my major trades, I've shared it over in Telegram. But all I'm doing is just buying the freaking dips all the time, every time. Right now, I've got Doge, Solana, XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Why XRP? Because I thought it was kind of funny. I could buy it because I know it was going to go up eventually. Might take some time, but since I'm using Cross and I've got enough money in my account, so I'll never get liquidated, I can just buy these positions. It's going to be fine. Yes, for a short time, it may look down a bit, but I'll just keep adding. And it's literally only your own mind that can wreck up your trades in this instance. Because again, it doesn't have to succeed today. It has to succeed over the next few months. And there's nobody that can convince me that if I look back over the next year at the crypto market, that we won't be above where we're at today, right? I just don't believe there's any way in which that can happen. Now, again, maybe in 6 months we'll be down lower. Maybe in 4 months we'll be down lower. Doesn't matter. Because at some point within the next 12 months, I personally am 99.9. No, I'm personally 100% convinced. But let's just say I'm 99.9% convinced that it's actually going to happen as well. And so all I've got to do is think about replacement costs. If I am buying this Bitcoin or this XRP or whatever, what am I throwing away? Well, on the one hand, you know, the cost of it all is your mental sanity. Because let's say you start out with $1 million today. You have to put it in, and all of a sudden it's going to go down to 600,000. Mentally, it's annoying because you could have had $1 million, bought the dip, and then be up a ton more. That's the one. And the second is, if I'm investing in Bitcoin right now, and it goes down a little bit, could I not have better waited and bought some altcoins? And so that's where you find the balance, because ultimately we all know Bitcoin is going to these crazy high prices. Maybe not the $10 million, $40 million, whatever that Michael Saylor has put up here, but it's gonna go up tremendously over time together with a lot of these major altcoins. I personally think there'll be many new altcoins though that come along the journey, or should say that come up along the journey. And my goal is just every single cycle, all different, find out what is the best area. This time around, it seemed to be AI, real-world assets, Ethereum-related coins, these oracles, Pyth, Chainlink. Previous time, you might have had a DeFi run, etc., etc. What in that specific run, so this 150-week period, is most trendy that I can just go crazy into right now, really focus hard on, and make tons of profit? Because the base case is that Bitcoin will do good anyway. So if I want to be really safe, right, it might be a little bit annoying, like with 0.1 just now, but it's basically safe if I just buy Bitcoin. And again, I always do it with leverage. One of my best trader friends always says, hey, if you're going to buy Ethereum, just open a 3x Ethereum long. If you've got enough capital, that's just, you know, stables or whatever, or if you've got a UTA account, you're also fine, because we'll not go down enough where you're going to hurt. I'm not a big fan, though. I'm not a big fan of the small leverage numbers, but it's also because I personally believe we are witnessing a bit of a domino effect here, right? I've been stating it for a little while that right now it seems we are cascading into a really quick super cycle moment where now, today, things might look annoying a bit, right? Not optimal, but the funds, the states, everything they're adding, they're talking about it. Freaking Trump is at the conference talking about Bitcoin. Solana is going on a pretty crazy surge. Matter of fact, Solana just hit an all-time high against Ethereum. It seems to me we have started the super cycle. Anyway, to get back to basics here, there was a lot of fear recently over, oh, Mt. Gox is going to create a lot of dump pressure. People should be afraid over this. Ultimately, it all ended up being a fad. And that's the thing. There will be so much fear. There will be many of these operations, but sit down for a little bit. Think for yourself. Is there really something that can take us down to absolute zero? I think so, right? I'd say if the internet goes out, never works again, and so forth. There's all these doom scenarios. what are the probabilities of all these things? And once you weigh them all off, I personally think the probability of this whole debacle that we're investing into doing that bad is nearly zero. It's not really there to me. So all I'm doing right now, guys, is just buying every single dip. I know I've made this video multiple times talking about it because I want everybody to realize it's just so simple. All you got to do is believe in something and look back at this video within a few months and you'll be enjoying it from your freaking Bahamas resort.